Game on. Got nothing written down. Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I am so excited to have on again a 38-year-old from Ketchum, Idaho, USA. He has partaken in 17 years of professional hockey and about 10 of them in Deutschland. And fun fact, he just came out of retirement like Mario Lemieux for EV Dingeldorfing to help them, I'm guessing, to save relegation. But other than Dingolfing, he has mucked it up in the Champions Hockey League. He is a DEL champion, and he has dove headfirst into the coaching world and is now raising the puppies right in Straubing, Germany. Welcome back, Cody Lampl.
Thanks for what an intro. Thanks for having me.
I only wrote down I'm trying to I guess test myself now that I'm over 450 episodes. Now I don't write down any notes, and I want to get into more authentic conversations.
I like that. Let's let it flow.
Let
Sling it.
sling it. You said that once on
Get
here, and
weird.
I've
Get
continued to
weird.
sling it in life and on here.
Yeah.
So
No, I
lots.
think that's why it's fun.
It's fun every time. So thanks for making the time for me, dude. And it looks like you're in the Kinder Schule Kabine or whatever it's called. The kids room, the kids you're coaching, is that your locker room?
No, this is my office.
That's your
This is my
office?
office. So this is my office. I got a view of the ice rink. This is my office. I share it with Alex Kertz, skills coach extraordinaire. And we have a great setup here. So no, this is my office. And I look and I've got a if you could see what I'm looking at right now, I have a nice big window of the Straubing arena. So
That's
it's
awesome. It's a nice
fantastic.
barn too, eh?
Yeah, it's a great barn. I can literally watch the Tigers play while I'm in my office.
And that Alex Kirsch, I believe his name is. He's
Yep,
came up so
yep.
many times. Dashy brought him up. I just had him on, your former teammate. And he keeps coming up. And I actually reached out to him. I said, "Hey man, you want to talk?" And got crickets back, man. He just must not know about it.
You know what? He'll probably pop in here when he gets done with a session in like 20 minutes or so. So
See,
maybe we
maybe
can
it's not up to him.
we'll
Maybe he's coming on whether he
yeah,
likes it or not.
he exactly. That's the thing, and we'll just bully him onto it right now.
That's
But yeah, he's a great dude,
it.
and it's I had some history with him before I even got here, so it's kind of become full circle that we work together every day. And he's like my work husband here. Like I spend more time with him than my wife. So he's a great guy and he's a grinder. He's a grinder.
Um, so you're coaching under 17 in Straubing, right? And you're
Yeah.
saying you spend a lot of time in the office. So I'm trying to figure it out because I always wondered what coaches did all day when they'd be in their
Yes.
office all day. And I always
Yes.
wondered. And
Yes.
now I'm coaching
My
under
wife thought I
13.
was having an affair,
Well,
so I'll tell you that.
I'm coaching under 13 boys, and I'm coaching the senior team in town. And I mean, I also work all day, and I try to podcast whenever I have a chance. So, like, I'm pretty busy, but like, I still don't know because I can plan. I think about what to do for practice after the last game, what we need to work on, and I have an idea. And then I have my staples that we do pretty regularly or whatnot. And it only takes me 3 minutes to plan my next practice. And I'm not into video because I remember every play of the game. So like I don't know. I don't know what I would do in
I
my
think
office all day.
so. That's a good thing. I had no idea what the coaches did in that office either. I was wondering how they were there for all day. But um, what I do in the office when I'm here, so I mean, obviously it's my full-time job. So this is what I do full time. Now, I sometimes go on the ice with other age groups and things like that, but as soon as like games start going and everything like this, the kids that I work with, in Germany at least, everyone has a skill set. Everyone can, and this is most of the skills these days. Everyone can shoot, everyone can skate. The passing part of it, catching and receiving passes, like in playing fast and doing this, but the kids don't watch hockey games. So when it comes to structure and it comes to habits, it comes to, playing as a team and being able to play with pace, I dove headfirst into becoming a video nerd. And when I say that, because we had to get our licenses for German hockey, so through the DB, the Deutsche Eishockeybunde, to coach at a certain level. And part of my, I always knew that video was like super helpful. And when you start a season, you go, where do we start with all of these kids and what they've been doing? And how do we, with kids that are, on different levels, how do we get the team to understand of what we're trying to play with? And the biggest thing was like the game's pretty simple to me, at least when I sit back and watch it, is that like on defense, we're trying to take away space, and on offense, we're trying to create space, so
That's pretty simple.
but when it when it comes to that, then how do I show examples, or how do we want to play, or how do I dumb it down the most? So anyway, I had to do a video presentation in terms of, for my license, you have to talk with the team like you're in a locker room and you get a game, you have to cut the game, and then you're giving a topic on, these clips. And this is, you're basically doing a pre-scout, you're doing a breakdown and then a pre-scout of who you're going to play next, so I had like,
This
you know
sounds way more
so
helpful than doing a coaching course in Canada.
yeah, so it is very helpful, and honestly, it is very helpful. And we have to use a specific program. So we have to use the program Dartfish. So most coaches,
Dartfish, that's
again,
an
like there's
interesting name.
yeah. So
Dartfish.
that's what it's called. So that's the cutting. That's the cutting program. Um, so I had never used Dartfish before. Obviously learning the course in German at first, it was like things going a million miles an hour. And obviously it's in English too, we speak, and it's great. It's very like informative and everything. And you have players that are in there, um and it's fun, because if you really are into it, you can really
You're
get
around
something out of it.
hockey minds that want to
Yeah,
coach.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So and I think like most of European hockey, and maybe like 12 out of 14 DL teams use Dartfish as a program, like to live cut their games and things like that. So, and the other, it would be equivalent to Steva. Like,
Uh-huh.
you ever heard of Steva? Right. So that's what some use. So like the Tigers use Steva, but every other team in DL uses Dartfish. So anyway, so like I dove headfirst in like teaching myself how to do this. So I'm making sure that I, watch games and then cut them. And when I say cutting, I mean every single clip that there is. Like if there's a face off, there's a one face off, there's a forecheck, there's a neutral zone forecheck, there's a breakout, there's a, there's a whatever, it's offensive zone play, defensive zone play, power, every single
Every
event.
time you
I
can
mean, I
clip
even
like a little thing and then you put it in your
anytime
little
I can
folder.
clip, and you're live clipping, just and you're using all the shortcuts on your, because you set up your panel, your tagging panel, to be able to one button, boom, clicks it, it saves a certain amount of time. And the kids have never really been coached before. They're up to this age, and when I say U17, they're 2008s and 2009s. They've never really been coached before. So when I'm working on habits and things like this, I'm going through the game and I'm going, okay, how am I going to make everybody better? Where am I going to start? Da, da, da. And I, obviously started, face offs out. I started face offs. And then to me, it's how we play in the D zone, because the quicker we come back in the D zone, the quicker we get the puck, so I want to play with the puck. So all these things is I really, really became a video nerd to be able to clip and try and run my team as professional as possible. I only know what it was like to be in a professional room, how video was run, how this was, and how I was going to teach them. So instead of just having a video guy in the pro room, you have that guy and you do this. Well, guess
You
what? I was going
you're
to
the
do it
video guy
myself.
too. Yeah.
I'm the video guy. But anyway, I want to have clips to be able to not only show my kids, but I want to create a library to be able to show habits starting from the younger ages and then incorporate more and more as they got older. So then throughout the whole organization, there was unity in terms of verbiage, how we talk to each other on the ice, how we, what we expect, what things are called. So then we can play fast. So this is what I took the whole year on doing, is trying to gather a library in making it so it's unified throughout the youth program. So we can start teaching these kids. And just because they don't have the skill doesn't mean they don't have the brain to start introducing things, into so when they watch hockey games, they understand and can start seeing things.
Yeah, instead of just watching a game. Like there's
Yeah,
watching
right.
hockey and then there's watching hockey. So
Right.
then this library you're putting together, that's your tool, or are you providing that to all of the youth program?
So yeah, so I was basically took it by myself. Like, I mean, obviously there's things that are very personal to a coach,
Yeah.
that you work really hard on and you kind of keep to yourself. But I do all the, a lot of the video for the program. So, there's things that I'll do for the program and then, but just like even my teaching, when I go and cut, like I will cut clips of, different breakouts and I'll say, okay, this is what even slow motion and then highlight a guy without the puck and what he's yelling, one word so he can go fast. So, on an over or a reverse or a net bump, or a hard, strong,
Can you remind me
real.
what a net
So
bump is?
so a net bump would be like if you're in the corner and you just wanted it on the short side of the net, but you wanted it toward the, below the goal line toward the net, you'd yell like net bump,
So it's kind
so
of like a
and then
reverse, but to the other, right?
no, but it's not well, it's because you don't have to be coming from that side. So
Mm.
like if you're just coming and you want it like instead of like an over, which would kind of be like to the
A
weak
D to
side of the
D,
ice,
yeah,
this is just like a small bump, or if you're in a
to an
defensive
area,
pile.
just to the other
Right, and if
side of an
you're right,
area,
exactly,
on the
or
other
if you're
side
in
of
a
the net.
pile in the if you're in a pile in the corner and you want it like in front of the net, you'd yell like middle or net. But or like if you want it in front, you'd yell middle. If you wanted it behind, like right behind, you'd yell net.
Right.
So and I really like clipped examples and then paused and then, you know, put some effects on there so you could see like the most important thing is the players without the puck that are talking.
Mhm.
And they've never been taught this, of how to say
Talking's a
one
thing,
word
eh? Like,
and how to
and I,
say one word,
then they
you
know
know.
what to do because of the verbiage, and they do need to know. And
Exactly.
um, yeah, it's interesting. Like coaching under 13 is, um, well, they don't talk a lot, and they don't talk
Yeah.
enough. And I probably don't stress it enough in practice to like yell for the puck. But like these kids are so into it now. Like I hear them holding each other accountable after a shift and like saying, "Boys, that has to get deep. It has to get deep. We can't turn that over." And it's like, so once you guys get it, I have less coaching to do.
Yeah. And we figure like with the talking and at least the verbiage, you can introduce this at earlier age. They might not use it all, but at least
Talking on the ice
they'll
is
start
huge, right?
figuring out, but they'll start figuring it out. So then when they come up to the age levels, then it's everybody's speaking the same thing. And if a U13 kid's practicing with the U15, they know what that's going on, or the U15's practicing with the U17. Yeah, there might be extra details they know, but in terms of like, the general idea, we're all on the same page, you know?
Well, and I found when I jumped into pro, and I don't I don't want to be mean, but like I don't feel like I was prepared um from coaching. I wasn't prepared to join. I'd been with the same guy for so many years and I didn't learn what was all out there. I didn't know the different the some of the normal things. And then I got to pro and I couldn't just join a team and be able to jump right in and fit right in. Because it was different systems, it was different than what I had learned. And my proud moment this season was, well, my son got called up for a tournament, and then our captain got called up for 3 games, 3 nights with the AAA team. And these are kids well, my son, obviously, I've been with forever, but the other kid I've been with now for 3 seasons. And they jumped into the AAA, and they didn't want them to leave. When my son went to a tournament, they paid for our hotel so we would stay another night and play one more game. And then we had to get home for our own game after that. But the other kid, they asked him to come to one game on the Friday, and then they asked him back on the Saturday and Sunday. And I'm thinking, well, that's because they could go there and just fit right into whatever you're doing. And it made me proud as a coach because I didn't feel like I could do that as a player. And like, I know, like, I feel like I'm teaching them the basics and dumbing it down enough that it's like, this is what you need to do wherever you go.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think because I work with so many players too in like Alex and I with the skills business, you know, my specialty at least like yeah, like is skating and like technique and stuff like that. But the need over here is you have more and more and more skill everywhere. But that doesn't mean that the pace of play is getting faster because the puck's not moving the way it should be. More guys are playing one on one and one on two than trying to find an odd man situation somewhere. But it's the little plays, as I see, like going up the ranks, that the younger pros struggle with is, just the little things of getting a bump on a face-off win, you know, stick positioning, getting off the wall on this big ice surface when you're a weak side winger, and not being scared to come down and help in the slot because you're trying to overload one side and cut one side in half. When you're the forechecker, you're not trying to just, you're not trying to make sure that you try and get the puck every time. You're trying to steer him or
You're
force
trying
him
to
into
angle
where
them
you have help.
into the, yeah.
Trying to force them to where they have help. And this is part of the game, and a lot of it's without the puck. And we only work on things with the puck these days. So I'm really trying to, take it and really be able to teach all these players how to play without the puck because it's just not taught.
It's a hard thing to
Besides,
teach though, right? And some
yeah,
people get
it
it and
really
some
is.
people don't, because
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
I watch my forwards and some kids have a knack for being open around the net. And then some kids, you see them just standing around and the puck could be in the far corner and they're just standing on the weak side kind of watching. And you're like, well, if you're not doing anything, you're not doing anything. Like if you're not open, get open, go somewhere, do something. Don't just watch them, you know? And it's like
yeah.
how do you really explain that? I feel sometimes some have it and some don't when it comes to play away from the puck. And I find it's one of the hardest things to teach.
Yeah, and no, you're absolutely right. It is the hardest thing to teach, and you'll say it and you'll go over it over and over and over again. Um, but I think the biggest thing is just telling the kids to just scan, 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 scan. Like just
Know what's
know
going
where
on with
everybody is.
everybody. It's
That's the thing. And again, you're gonna have kids that you could tell them 1,000 times and they won't get it.
right.
And they probably will never get it. And that's just and you'll have pros that like will not ever they'll always stare at the puck. They're like a
And the thing
piece
is
of
they
ass
were
across
so
the street.
big, they were
They'll
so big,
always
they were
stare at
so
the puck.
fast,
Yeah.
and they could shoot the puck, and they always got the chances, and people always got them places, but they actually don't have the brain for the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you see it all the time, like especially, you'll see a winger and going, "Oh, I did my job. Like my D man didn't get the puck." And it's like, no, but you're standing right next to him, face guarding him. And then there's so much space in the middle of the ice that we're
In
not,
in
like
the
you can't
house.
play you can't play one on one against team, like against some players are physically bigger and better than you. So when you're a team, you have to overload or try and take away space. And the biggest thing is that if that guy's not dangerous. If they're gonna get it to him, it's either gonna go the outside and over, which you can still be in a shot lane and go out. But the worst thing is that guy being able to roll up and having space in the middle of the ice when you're not there. When if that person was going to pass to that guy, it would have to go through you. And then if you're lower and you're taking away that space, you then have more space to go when you get the puck and then go on offense because they're gapped out. So it's trying to explain these concepts, but I'm really trying to break it down as simply as possible. And I just been watching a ton of hockey. Honestly, I've been watching every league, every age, every video, and just really trying to
You're
get my
into this, eh?
library
I
and just
love it.
I'm into it, man. I'm into it, because
So am I.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
interesting talking to you though, because we both have our different ways of doing it. It's um
yeah.
I
I mean, when
I
it comes down to it, trust me, it's there's a piece of meat. Who's gonna eat?
right.
Like
It's
I'm
is it
that
your
guy with
puck or is it
right,
his puck?
right, and that is, trust me, everyone knows me. That's number one.
Yeah.
But I see so many kids that have really good work ethic and just don't get anything accomplished. And
Yeah.
you're like, just do less sometimes, just
So but
shrink
honestly though,
and
and I mean, it does there's a player I'm coaching that he's as talented as they get. And I I know as a skill guy, it's like you can go your 5 games and not score a goal and you're getting stressed and it just doesn't feel right when you get the puck and you get some lucky goal and then all of a sudden you can score again and you got the juices flowing again. But like there's sometimes when you're like the skill guy, you can try too hard. You can get that puck and you can just whack fuck it and you're just like, I'm fucking trying so hard. And it's like, or be in that flow state where you're like, I'm better than you. Watch this.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. And there's and again, like I think it's age is as you grow up, there's different things like you don't want to, you're not trying to teach so much structure, obviously, to younger kids, but the habits in terms of leading, going stick on puck and angling and stops and starts and, just posture, like, because if they learn posture at a younger age, then, the biggest thing is like always fucking be ready.
Mm.
Like your weight transfer is being able to switch directions, being able to just go one way or the other. Like that's just about being ready, and having good knee and ankle bend. But that's posture. You have good posture, your head's up. You're ready to go into a battle. You're strong.
Well,
But
it's
so I don't,
interesting though. Every kid's got a different thing going on, right? It's like I got one big guy on D that's got these big paws, and he had never been on the radar making the rep team, and then all of a sudden he showed up and he made the team, and I took him, and he has tons of potential. And then when I'm watching him at the start of the year, the times he was getting beat, he's bent over, like he's too far over that like he's he's not able to go left and right because he's too far over. And when he stays upright and he's up, like he can go both ways and nobody can get around him because he's huge. And it's just getting his back up, you know?
that's the biggest thing, especially in the summer camps that we work on. It's just posture. I'm a big posture guy. Like that's, and obviously there's going to be different looks of like how some guys are a little more bent over, some guys are a little more this. But I mean, the biggest thing is you can really tell like with kids and this, that is you're like, the only thing that's really going to help you is just getting about this much lower, with your ankle bend and your knee bend, with some, just put some pressure on those tongues of your skates, but at the same time, like, if again, like you want to have blade on the ice, so you got to be able to be strong in your, like have some gap in your, tendon guard there and have some good posture. But again, is that from leg strength, or not having it or not this, but with the kids, I just try to simplify as easy as possible and say, what are you trying to do when you have offense? You're trying to create space and you're trying to create an odd man situation somewhere, and then on defense, what are you trying to do? You're trying to take away space and you're trying to protect the most dangerous area. And then you play, once you play inside out, then once you count and you have either an even or a man advantage, you go pressure. Like that's it. That's it. And it's
So
simple counting.
it's interesting. Like I, you start your way, what you're saying with video and structure. Every year I've coached now this is my 4th season having a team. My very first practice of every season, I do exactly what Derek Clancy did with the Daytona Beach Bombers of Ohio when I got to the coast. And I don't feel like I had learned D zone properly. I had been playing man on man, which makes no sense. And I got to pro and I didn't know what to do or how to do it. And then this guy painted the ice into quadrants, and he painted the ice and he said, so if the puck's over here, where would you go? And like, this is not having the other team on the ice at all. This is just, if the puck's over there and this is your square, where would you go? And it's like, I would be standing right in front of the net, right here, right at the crosshairs. And he's like, and then your stick would be where if the D man's here or the forward's here. And I'm like, so I've been chasing guys around for 4 years at school. And I'm like, you're telling me this is all I got to do? And I can stand here in the D zone and be calm and relaxed. And then when it's time to go on offense, I'm ready to go. And I'm like, I don't have to burn myself out in the D zone chasing people around. And I'm like, this is all I got to do. And then I've done it with every team every year. First practice of the year, I'm like, this is what we're doing in the D zone. I don't care where the
Yeah,
other
and
team is, but your stick's going to care. But this is where you're
yeah,
going to be. And then your house is taken care of. And then the
yeah,
centerman goes in
and
support. And then all I say is keep them to the outside. The other team on offense will screw up if you keep them to the outside.
yeah, and that's the other thing too is like you go, based on everybody now is playing like a box and one, right? I'm not saying with like the youth kids in this because it's a little bit different. If I was playing youth kids, you would never have any. I would have all five players below the top of the circles every single time, right? Like doesn't matter because there's no danger out there, whatever. But we'd go try to pressure and get the puck. You'd always over whatever. But I'm saying with the older guys and everything like this and the pro, every single player, every single team is playing box and one. In terms of, you have, the only difference is
Are
on
you
a big
talking
ice.
box and
You got,
one in the D zone?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, in the
Okay.
D zone, like in the D zone, like you're playing your quadrants,
Yeah.
and then you have your F1 back, which let's say it's your centerman. Well, this is another thing that I'm a big believer in is that the
Whoever's
kids
back
have to know that
first.
it's not it right. It's just they got to count. You got one, two, and three.
I,
It's
I,
like you
I'm
got
not there. I'm not there in under 13. It's
yeah,
center.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right, right. So it's like you got to count one, two, and three. And the only difference you see is that in North America, like these NHL teams that are really aggressive, they'll have a guy sealing the wall. And here on the big ice, we can't do that because there's too much space. So it's like get at the dot. You can still get to the wall, but you can't. But if you get stuck too far out, like you see a lot of teams, especially when they come back in the D zone, they'll go obviously middle out, and then they'll see if they have numbers, and then they'll go pressure, but they'll put their F3 on the wall, as opposed to put their F3
In
on the top, on the dot, or
on the
helping
slot
out that
area.
way. So,
Yeah.
well, when I say
So
F3, I mean
are
like
you doing the
the
swarm
difference
thing?
between
Like
two.
are you trying to outnumber in the corners? Because I
Always,
own yeah.
always one more outnumbered. Well, and when I say
So
outnumber,
you're
like
full
I call
go
it,
in
we
the
call
D
it
zone.
overload. Well, overload. We're not full go because if you're only full go if you have
If you have a
numbers.
battle in the corner.
Yeah, right. If you have numbers, so you got to count. Like if you don't have numbers, you're passive in the middle. Protecting what's important.
I played a system like that in Helperon, and that was about the only time where like they would well, once it was a battle in the corner, they wanted to outnumber them. And yeah, I don't know. That season didn't go that well. So I don't know.
And
I just
I don't want them just going. I don't want, like I said, I don't want them
you
just
don't just
going to
go to
go.
go. Yeah.
No, no, it's
It's
like
got
no,
to be the right
but
time.
I don't expect every player to get in there, get a hit, and come away with the puck. And the biggest thing is you need puck support.
You need help.
So I don't expect two guys to go in on one.
Oh boy, did he just
Yeah,
it was hilarious how you froze. Your
yeah,
face looked like
yeah,
you're really passionate about coaching. So where were we?
yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, look, fuck, once you're playing, no one has fun playing defense. The more time you spend in your defensive zone, the less time you spend in your offensive zone.
Oh, it's way more
You know,
fun playing
and
hockey in the ozone.
and again, you want to go get the puck back and you want to do this. But also at the same time, you know, I would rather be a little bit passive and not give up grade A chances and slot than that's what it is.
Yeah.
And let them make mistake too. But I want to go, have guys hit, pin, whatever, and I don't expect them always to come out with the puck themselves. I expect them maybe to, be able to move it a little bit left or right or go in with a stick and force it one way or another, or they're in a battle and the guy's yelling behind them, hey, middle, 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 like things like this. But there has to be support, and
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. But also, too, I think the lower that we get in the D zone and surround them, that the more space you will have on the rush because there's not a lot of defensemen that really surf and get up and get tight. So it helps everybody.
Surf and get up. What a you see like I'm into this coaching thing and I like it. And I knew you were going to be good at it because I've talked to you a few times. And sometimes you say stuff that it just makes so much sense. And you're saying surf and get up there. And it reminds me of Kelvin Elfring, who was a Straubing Tiger. And when I played against him and he was with Belfast and he was the lefty and I was the right winger, what a goddamn nightmare he was. Like he was like having a rover. And it's like, so the guy I'm covering is everywhere. And I'm like,
Yeah,
just stop, man. Like just stay back there
yeah,
like the rest of them.
yeah, 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 yeah. So, I mean, like I said, this is what we're, and I'm around the game, like the pro game a lot because we're here in the building and I'm always and talking with our coaches and then we train pro players. So I couldn't just not progress, I guess, because I'm with my U17 team and that's not the final goal. It's not I'm not in any rush to do it, but I really thought that the one thing that they were missing was so simple, never been taught. Hey, here's some clips of have you ever heard this term before? Or do you know how to speak to each other? Or, hey, now that you get against better defensemen, when we're on rushes, like middle lane drive is a thing, so here's some examples of what it can open up. And this is why we, middle lane drive and open and just be able to show and categorize things. And, I know there's a lot of like, hey, are you trying to, zone entry? You're going to play for coaches. Sometimes they want middle ice. Sometimes you're going to play with coaches that want a zone entry wide and always have middle lane drive,
Mm,
but why not be able to just understand both so when you go to different teams you're prepared, you know
uh,
and this is
totally.
kind of where we're trying to open things up.
Um, yeah, no, man, it sounds like you're right into this. So I'm curious because, like you say, it's your full-time job. You're coaching under 17. Um, Coaching under 13, coaching senior. Um, I do it for free. I do it because I love it and I like being part of teams and being a part of hockey and seeing teams come together and win shit. Um, how long was this course you had to take? What did you have to do to become a coach in Germany as a Canadian?
So in Germany you have two. So like it as you go up, so just to be a coach, like you have your C license. I don't know what that's equivalent to in Canada, but you go and it's 5 days there, and the 5 days are uh in the mornings it's office or it's like classroom work. And then in the afternoons, you're on the ice actually in full equipment, which is very strange because
Your
when I'm in
coaches.
full equipment, I'm in player mode,
Oh dear.
you know? And, no, and yeah, and I did very, like honestly, we did, and they had us go like hard, but it's just, I'm much more like when I'm in full gear.
It's a different mode, that's for sure. I'm hoping you didn't pause again. Gosh darn it.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyways, sorry you paused
Yeah. So
again.
you have,
This
you have
internet
two, you have two
sucks here.
separate weeks. You have two separate weeks, but a 5 day, one 5 days, and then like an online day, full online day, and then another 5 days where you go and you do this in Fusen most of the time. So you go in like
That's a nice
morning
place.
classroom, yeah, yeah, morning classroom, and then afternoon on the ice in full equipment, and everyone's on the ice in full equipment, and you're going over like maybe how a practice should be run or what this doing, and it's different, and it's
Are
whatever
they telling
25
you how
people
a
in the thing,
practice
and
should be run, or do they let
oh, they're
people
not
talk?
telling you, but they're having you brainstorm, and maybe you'll get into like small mini groups. You'll come up with a drill, and then you'll
Mm.
do something, and they'll give you a topic, and then you'll like, okay, maybe why you thought this worked or why you didn't work, and you actually have like the other like coaches that perform the drill and shit. Like
Should
it's wild.
I think, well, you've mentioned we should just sling it, right?
Yeah.
The last coaching course I had to take was last season, when we became all Ontario champions here in Kincardine, Ontario. I had to take a course to coach that team and sat in my shed one night, did the online part where I just kind of sat there and listened for hours. Um, and it was interesting listening to what they had to say about how hockey works when I have a pretty good idea. There it was, well, it was a couple of old gals that were running the course and they were telling me how scouts work and how this works and that works. And I'm like, nope, that's not how it works at all, actually. They actually call their contacts and ask about a player and the people and the family. and that's how it works. They do not have a notebook of a player that is 10 years old or 11 years old or 12 years old. They have not been watching them for years. They watch them when it's their draft year, and they might watch them the year before, maybe. But when it's time, that's when they watch them because they have enough kids to watch. And it's every year they keep coming. And they were trying to say this stuff, and I'm listening to this, and I'm like,
I mean, I mean, look, you know how it is, but the thing that is I don't have too big of an ego where I got to tell them where they're wrong. Because trust me, there's
no, I
plenty of
just
shit that
sat
you
there
learn
and
there, and
listened.
it's a wasted time, right? And it's a waste of time.
Well,
But,
but
but,
everybody
but
has to
it's
pay
the
them to get to coach.
yes, it is. Yeah, but here at least it's the people that make the course. So if you get a good group, and I was lucky to have a good group. So my C license, I was with all pros. So, but it's also strange too because we're going from your C license only allows you to coach like 15 and under, like under 15 under. And you have all these pros in here that like are asking questions about like agents and professionals. And I'm like, what course are we in? This is like the C course. So obviously it was like you have different people in there that all want to do different things. So the questions are just like so random and not one topic. But you pick and choose of what, things like, oh, you know what, like if you're there, hey, if I'm there for 5 days because I have to be, and I find two ways of saying something better that I think can be beneficial, hey, then I learned something,
Helped you
you
out.
know, right? And I found 900 ways not to say something. Well, that's still learning too,
I
so
you learn, you can learn all the time, whatever you're doing, for sure.
right.
And
And yeah.
that last
So,
coaching course, so just to finish that story, was I also had a great group. We had to hand in a project together, the drills or a practice we were gonna do, and I told them, I'm like, my team has a game like now, and I'm like, so I'm gonna go coach that game, and I'm like, we were talking about it, and then I'm standing outside the arena on the phone on the call and talking to them about all that, and my boys are showing up. I'm giving them fist bumps, and then they go in, and we're still on this course listening to all the stuff. And I got the ear pod in and my phone out, and then I could see my boys like, what is he up to? And I'm like, boys, just get ready to play. And then they're doing their thing. And then I went in, I'm like, so boys, I'm in the middle of a coaching course. We got a game today. I'm like, don't mind me that I got an ear pod in my ear. I'm like, I'm here. I'm with you guys. We're playing today. I'm like, I just got to get this done so I can coach you guys. And then we went out and I had an ear pod in for the first period. And the team I was with, the people we had drawn up a practice for, mailed her in and we got it all done. And I listened to it all while we coached the first period. And then I took the ear pod out and then we won the game and it was all good. And I was finished the course.
yeah, yeah, and exactly, yeah, and then, I mean that's how they are. But then you actually have homework in these where you got to film yourself doing a practice, and they'll give you a topic. So you'll say the age that you're coaching, and then they'll give you a topic, and then you film yourself. You have to film and mic yourself up for a practice.
And they
So
give you the
there
stuff
is
to
like
bike yourself up.
no, like you just use your phone, like voice recording app, and you'll just like put it in your pocket with an earbud, and then you just film yourself like with an iPad or an iPhone, but that was the thing I struggled with ours is matching up the video and the mic, and the thing like because I wasn't a technology like at the time, like I didn't know how to do any of this stuff. So that was the C license,
This sounds like
and then
way more in depth than in Canada, man. When they
yeah,
told they
yeah,
told us in Canada we had to take a body checking course video or whatever. We had to watch some video for body checking. There wasn't even any body checking in it. They had filmed like the women's Canadian hockey team having a practice, and then they called that the body checking course. And I'm like, I was so confused of what we're doing here. But then every coach in Canada had to pay so much money to watch that video, and it was so amateur, it was unbelievable.
yeah. I mean, and again, this is also a money making thing from the DB because it's expensive like to do this thing, and again, like my association paid for the courses. That was part of the deal. But a lot of these guys, yeah, they're on their own dime. and they're paying it, and it's, so then the
And our
next license.
organization pays for it too, and
Yeah,
I appreciate that because they want
yeah,
people to volunteer and help out.
yeah,
But
right, right, right. And then the next course is like, that's when it gets to be okay, a little bit more intense, and now it's video, like learning how to cut video and use, video analysis and all that stuff with your practice on top of that. So but that's when I was like, so anyway, I really dove into this, and then I still had a good relationship with it. I'm around the rink all the time, but I really have no time to do anything else. But I'd always go in and talk with the old coach of the Tigers, because he actually got let go, like a month ago or so, or 6 weeks ago. And I had a great relationship with him. And I'd always go in there and pick his brain a little bit, talk about talk about hockey and whatever. And we'd trade, I'd bring the SSD card in and ask if, he had any video like of maybe some face-off plays. And I would say, hey, I've been cutting like this. Would you like any of this? And we trade some things. And then he comes into me the next, and he's like, man, you really like this video stuff. So then comes into me like the next day after one of our talks, and he goes, hey, our video coach actually is he's dealing with some family issues. You want to come on the road to Mannheim and live cut the game? And I'm like, man, I really got no time. But we were just talking about this. You guys use Steva and I use Dartfish. He's like, oh, you'll figure it out. So I went, and like in the middle of the season, after like really teaching myself, I was able to do for the Tigers, able to do in Mannheim, at home against Berlin, and in Munich in the new arena, like live cut the games, and real on Steva on a different program, teach myself like the night before, like of all the shortcuts were, and then run down in between periods, give the events, be in like the coach's room that I was always in the other room. And it was the most unbelievable work experience in my first year of like what I was teaching myself there. And then to get like that experience, and treated so well, not like, hey, this was your first time. No, they looked at me like I was there this time and I shouldn't be fucking anything up, and it should be this. And it was great. It was,
oh,
so it was like, so it was a whole different thing cutting video, whole different thing cutting video live, when
in a
there's
big,
no
big
replay,
game
there's
and
no
with big
this, you're
barns.
just right in big games. And they want, hey, let me see, they write down this time and there better be that event tag, and it's like, oh yeah, what do you need? Da, da, da. And then guys in between periods going, hey, let me see that last oh yeah, you were talking about this play, yeah, here you go. Like it was crazy, and it was really cool that I got to do that. And it
So
was,
I guess
you
I
know
always thought of video as boring, but when you're putting it that way, that wouldn't be boring at all. At all. That
that's the
would
most,
that
first of
that
all, those guys, that was the most intense
right.
38 minutes at a time, because you have the period, and you just, you can't miss the event. And then you have to know too, like really be dialed in, because when you press your buttons, you have your panel set up to what the delay is. Maybe it starts 3 seconds before you press it. So if you get, if you know the game too well sometimes, and you anticipate what's going to happen, well then your panel's already on a delay. Well, it'll kind of, the times will be off a little bit, because it will start 3 seconds before you press, which is a lot of time in the video.
Three seconds
So
is, yeah.
yeah, right. So it's yeah, it's
Because
wild,
clips
and then
are
you're
normally
doing,
pretty short, right? It's like
yeah,
right here. This happened. Like
yeah,
it's not a long
yeah,
clip.
yeah, yeah.
Um, my junior B coach that I won the Sutherland Cup with, that's an absolute dandy. He has a cottage around here, and we've got in contact again. He's come to watch my kids play a few times and watched me coach, and he asked for updates and whatnot. And he said to me, he said, watching you coach and watching you do it, he's like, the passion's just pouring out of you, like your hockey passion that, that I guess I buried for like 5 years when I got back and before I started doing all this and coaching. And I he says that to me and I don't, I'm like, I don't know, whatever. Like I'm just doing my thing. But I hear it in your voice. I hear it, you speaking, and I hear you talking about the coaching, the video. Um, the passion is pouring out of you too, sir.
I it is, but that's why I say maybe I'm in like two different worlds, because the program is just being built here, but the infrastructure is unbelievable, and the things that the kids get. So when I don't necessarily see the commitment level vibing with what their facilities are and how they get treated, that's where like I've really come and my wife's like, "You're such a hardo. Like, look at these guys." And I'm like, these kids
Have it
have
all.
a nicer locker room. They have a nicer locker room than the Tigers. They have this setup. They have this. I go, when you were playing this, you had to carry your bag back and forth to the rink. You had to do that. You didn't get any of this stuff. So you expect, when you are treated like this, like you expect a certain level of commitment, you know? And the
Yeah.
other thing too is I wouldn't treat these kids like that if they didn't tell me in their own words that they were a hockey player. So once they tell me they're a hockey player, they get treated like a hockey player, not like a kid playing hockey.
Yeah.
Oh, here he is right here, the guy that never called you back here.
Hey, there he is.
Yeah,
Hey,
there he is.
he's
Look, the
coming
one and
to
only, the
talk
infamous.
finally.
Yeah,
I
he's
heard
coming to talk. One and
I
only,
heard you're
the
famous.
infamous. Yeah, Dashy said you were famous. You know,
Dashy
get on
Moose.
camera here for 1 second.
Oh my gosh.
Just pop your face in here.
Hey, there
Hey,
you
you just
are.
broke the
How
camera.
are you?
You just broke the camera. Hey, fuck, you just broke the camera. No, this is my guy right here. That's what I said. He's Alex Karich right here. He
I
says you
know.
come up all the time, you know?
It's only come up a few times. I don't know if you've ever heard about me talking on my work computer on lunch hours, but apparently you are a famous skills coach in Straubing, Germany, and a lot of people say nice things of what you're doing in the hockey game. So good job.
Yeah.
Thanks. Glad to hear that. I mean, we're just working 24/7. Nothing special. Nothing special.
Nothing
He's a
special.
grinder. Like I said, he's a grinder.
Aren't we all?
He's a grinder.
Uh,
We're actually
um,
going to the States together here in a
well,
month.
he is your work husband, right?
He's my work husband, absolutely.
Um,
Nothing. I give the answer, right? Or I don't give the answer.
you didn't even respond to me. It just crickets, man. Like he
As
didn't
I
even.
said, hey, we're gonna
I just
bully.
said-
No, because he goes, hey, you're in the kids' locker room right now. I'm like, no, I'm in Alex and I's office. And he's like, that motherfucker. He didn't even catch me back. And I was like, don't worry. Don't worry. He's coming off the ice like pretty soon. I know he's gonna be dropping his gear off. We'll bully him right
Hey,
now.
you must have been grinding because you didn't even have time to say no.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
No, I was the answer.
Yeah.
Definitely. We
Aber
don't have
ich kann sprechen ein bisschen Deutsch and du bist
Yeah.
training mit Dashi und the
You're pretty
Betreuer
nice.
ist Moose, oder?
Yeah, Moose. Yeah,
Yeah,
Moose too.
right.
Yeah, Moose too. Oh, you speak Russian?
I do not speak Russian.
Okay, because I said you're talking Russian could have been good too, you know?
No,
Yeah,
I don't know much there.
that's why I'm asking. That's why I'm asking. I said, well, if your German's not so good, maybe your Russian's better, you know?
Um,
Right,
I do
fine.
I do think it. Hey, nice meeting you, sir.
Yeah, nice to meet you. I will write you back 100%.
Yeah,
I
hey,
promise.
think about the no or yes, okay? It's one or the other, right?
See you. Yeah.
I think it's neat though to have I love the coaching too, man. I feel in the same way you do. Um and the way he does, because I've seen what he's built with helping people get better at what you love and seeing them get better at it. And I mean, there's nothing like it because when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I always dreamed of having a son that was good at hockey and getting to coach him, and now my daughter plays too, and I put my name in to coach her team next year, and seeing them love it and become part of a team, and then when they'll do whatever it takes for each other, it's magical. Gosh, that's a bad time to freeze.
Yeah.
Anyways, game back on. All I was saying was that it's really fun to coach my kids and see them become friends with everybody. And I'm sorry my internet sucks. I've hosted a podcast for over 450 episodes. It doesn't mean I'm good at it.
Hey, that's what we're always trying to get better, you know? But I think the thing is, it's nice that, like But I think the biggest thing is that we can teach, and especially when it comes to the youth game, is that you're not always going to go play pro and do this. But I just like to get parents and kids honest with each other. And that's like when a parent comes in and tells me, or a kid comes in and tells me, and I just ask them what their expectations are and what they see like their work ethic as, and that's it. So I let them all tell me exactly what they are. And most of them will say, "Oh, well, you know, my son is, and I'm so committed and da, da, da." So then when it comes down to it, like I see that there's not that commitment level, or it's only you know, when I'm here, I'm there, but I'm not even, giving it my all. I just ask them, it's no problem, but you told me this because I do hold kids on my team to a different standard because if there is a baseline of effort that we is needed, but the kids that tell me why would a kid stay here to try to get better if I'm not holding the kids that have more commitment to a higher level, to a higher standard than the kids that have told me that they just are playing for fun more so, you know, because if I can't if I don't hold those kids to their own standard that they're telling me they are, then they're not going to improve the way that they are. So I'm much harder on the kids that tell me that they're hockey players, as opposed to the kids that are just playing and having
Right.
fun and doing it as a hobby. And it's hard for these kids to sometimes be like, man, because they've just because they're better than the other kids, they think that's enough. And I'm like, that's not enough for you telling me of what you want to be.
Well,
So
it's
if
not
if
enough
I
when you
don't
get
hold
out
you to
there.
that standard, right, and if I don't hold you to the standard of I want your best every day, it doesn't matter about this, then you'll never get any better, because or you never reach your potential. Because if you're putting your foot off the gas and you're only comparing yourself to this guy who says he's just a hobby player, and just as long as you're a little bit better than him, you think you're good, that's not how it works. So I'm very hard on these players of trying to, when they tell me that and their parents tell me this, because why else would you stay on this team, let's say, that's being built and hadn't had the success in the past, if I'm not able to get the best player better and the worst player better? And the only way you're going to get the best player better playing with other players is pushing themselves, holding them to their own standard.
Um, yeah, no, I agree with you, and I find it neat with the team I have. Like, we're all doing this for fun. This is all just under 13, um, being hockey guys in a small town in Ontario, and having fun being a team in a small community. But when I get down to practice and I'm like, so I can put you up against him, and I'm like, then I'm putting couple of the best players in Ontario against each other. And I'm like, well, that's when you get better. And I'm like, and then if you're not that guy, if you're not one of those guys, then you go out there against him and figure out how to get the puck from him because that's going to make you better. And I always tell my team, it's like games are games and we're going to beat another team. But when we're getting better is practicing with each other. And when you have some of the best players around and you can have those practices where their teammates, I always found as a player, when I get on the ice with guys that were better than me or did things differently than me, I would learn. And I find it very neat that I have some of the players I do in a tiny little town in Canada because these other kids are learning from them. And it's like my captain this year, he doesn't say a lot, but he's a hockey guy. I don't even have to ask him. I know what he is because he gets up at 6 a.m. and shoots pucks before school. He gets up and works out. Um, he says now that he's growing up a bit, he's not doing it before school, he's doing it after school, but I know he's doing it. And you see it every game he goes out there that he is going home and putting in the work. And he works harder than anybody. He Our last game last night when we booked our ticket to the All Ontarios and the finals of our league. Um, the
Yeah,
other
that's
teams,
that's
the other
yeah.
team scored to make it 2-1, and he was on the ice, and I said, "You guys stay on the ice." Puck goes down to our end. He picked up the puck, and I could just see it in his eyes. He's like, "This is unacceptable. It's only 2-1." And he went through everybody, took it to the net, almost scored, and then his line mate, who's been hot as hell, picked it up and shot again. And the rebound came back to our captain. He put it in to make it 3-1. And you saw the will and determination in that kid. And he was like, this is not a 2-1 game. We are going to be up 3-1. And boom, I just did that. And I'm like, oh my God.
But that's the thing. But that's the what type of kids you're around, because the most challenging part with my team is trying to structure practice so it can really be competitive, because you always have a couple players that are pretty good, but they're just a little bit lazy, and they always wiggle themselves into a matchup that's very formidable for them. And I
They
go,
want
fuck,
it easy.
how is possible? I go, how is this possible? I just tried to rig it this way to make sure that this person still was able to worm their way against this guy who is not, like, who's not going to challenge him and do
Yes.
this. And I'm going, and every day I'd come up there and be like, this guy's just smarter than me. How does he figure it? How does he do this? And it's like, and he has potential to be even that much better, but he doesn't have that wants to compete against the best in him, and he's one of our better guys. And you're just like, how do I bring it out of him? And this is like
Isn't
and
it?
this is my Rubik's Cube every single day, you know?
I totally agree, dude. I been dealing with for years because back in tyke hockey when it was before under 9, before any of it, they're just skating around pylons and doing whatever. And I was out on the ice helping out, and my son didn't want to go against the best player. And I went up to him and I said, how are you going to take the puck from him if you don't go against him? I'm like, you're going to go against somebody else so you can go score a goal? I'm like, you need to figure out how to take the puck from him so you can score a goal. And never had to have that conversation with him again. But yeah, it's interesting because being good and being better than people feels good. But sometimes you do have to lose, and sometimes you have to get out there against those guys to figure out what they're doing so you
Yeah.
can do it.
Yeah. But it's that whole mindset of kind of where you grow up type of thing, because I was coaching my kid, like, helped with U7s, and they go on the ice and they go do this, and the way they do it, they literally, like, they have a color, little piece on their cage, and so that's like their line that they're in, so it can basically stay matched up, 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, because then it goes on the thing. And our first, like the first line, the better players are getting killed against the other team's better players who are a little bit older and getting killed. And but the second line and third line is having like a lot of success, like against the other teams, like second and third line, because it keeps it this. And the other parent goes, all right, don't you think we should like switch it up so the first line can feel like they're having? And I'm like, looking, I'm like, those like, it would be even that much more unfair. But the thing is, like, these kids have to learn. Like, if they're going against this, like, do you think my kid, like, is just gonna not come back because he didn't score a goal? Like, my kids get yeah, like, barely touch the puck to this, but he was competing the whole time, against this. And do I need him to then go against easier competition so then he can like score and do? No, that's part of it. Like, that's
It's
part
all
of
part of
learning
it.
and doing this. So it was
Well,
like,
if
I
you
looked at
make
him, I was like,
it's kind of
why
like
would we ever have to change and like dumb it down for them so they can feel good like that way? Because guess what? Right now they should be feeling good that their team is doing well. And guess what? They're doing a good job against a tough guy. But you know what? Maybe not scoring, that's not success. But as long as they're happy for the other kids that are, guess what? Great. That's a team.
That's a team, and you're right though, and
But that's the
it's
mindset though of like, hey, don't you
but
think we should make the
it's
other
the
ones feel,
mindset of a
you're
lot
like,
of
well,
parents is they want it easy for theirs. They want
yeah,
it that their kid's going to score the goals, get the assists, be the star. It's like, well, sometimes a team needs somebody somewhere else so that the whole team can win.
yeah. And guess what? Like when you guys are looked at as like the better player team, you better play against the other team's better players. That's the way it goes.
Oh,
And guess what? Like, yeah, why dumb it down? Like just for the game. I mean, it's like, but I looked at him, I was just kind of like perplexed, I'm like, what do you mean this line needs to like score also to feel good? Like, why?
right.
Well, then they should. If they need to score, then they should do it.
Yeah,
And it shouldn't
right.
matter who they're playing against,
No,
What do you mean?
it is interesting though that you guys have line against line and second line against second line because that gets confusing.
Well,
But
like in the U7, because you have because there's such a gap, obviously of like kids that just started playing in this and it goes on 1 minute buzzer, and you're playing in those cross ice, so they're not and then you just like shuffle in the
and that's
red,
the
red,
that yeah,
blue, green,
but at least they're
and
playing
obviously,
games, man. I hate
yeah,
when it's
right,
that
yeah,
age and like they're not on a team, like they're not on a real team, and like
yeah,
around here, that's what it is like you just show up and you just skate around pylons and shoot on the net. It's like hockey to me is being on a team. You should be on a
yeah,
team for the year and you should have practices, you should have a coach, and it shouldn't just be skating around pylons and shooting on the net. But anywho, I'll stay out of that. Um, anywho, what is your favorite drill in practice? Because
uh,
I get a lot of hockey minds on to chat about coaching
well,
and
it
make
depends.
I try to make
My
myself
favorite.
I do try to make myself smarter by talking to smart hockey guys. And honestly, talking to you, I think you're right up there. So thanks for making the
My
time for
favorite
me.
drill, my favorite drill actually is a drill called Oreo. That is we do it from you do it from the top of the circles. You can do it from the blue line. You can do it from the red line. Do it from the far blue line, and it's three lines across. It's three lines across, and it is so you'd have let's say white against blue. You'd have white, 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 and then behind them blue, 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 and then white, 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 blue, blue, blue. And literally it's white's in, it's forecheck, you have to try and score, and the next team has to get the puck to the next in line, and then it's attack transition quick. So you go from you go from forecheck, you go from offense to defense quickly, transition fast. And you have to read the game, see where that puck goes. As soon as that puck is outletted to the next line and they're coming back on you, you have to talk, you have to communicate, you have to pick up, and then also another drill that I love.
So it's
And
three on three. So it's 3-on-3 all the time.
so it's 3-on-3, but you do it from top of the circles down. Then you can move it back to the blue line down. Then you can move it back to the red line down where you actually have offside in play. And it's bang, bang, bang transition. It gets going quick and it's intense and it's competitive and it's reading the game, it's communicating, and then also too, uh I also love a game that we call Banana, uh, Kerchi and I, and it's a small area game below top. It's a 2-on-2 below the top of the circles, but we put a blue pad from the dot to the top of the circle. So that's what I call it, banana. And then we go one color on one side. So we go,
Yeah, get the board out here.
yeah,
I'm ready. This is
yeah.
how you
So
learn, boys. It takes everybody to win.
so a drill called banana. So we'd go blue, 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 white, 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 and we have a pad here, goalie here, coach here, puck, or a couple extra
Yeah.
pucks. Like pucks are going to be here and here, but a couple extra pucks, because if they score, then I'm going to give another puck.
Yeah.
But as soon as the whistle blows and we'd have, let's say, white start on D, we'd have two blue attack with the puck. These guys on defense have to angle and play it, and it's a 2-on-2. They have to get the puck back, get it back to the coach, White does. And as soon as they do that, they're done. And blue has to, and the whistle will blow. And then this team will attack.
Oh yeah.
Bang, bang, bang. And it's
Yeah.
back and forth. It's mean, it's physical, it's early box outs. It's trying to get the puck back. It's good for your goalie because you're trying to get covers. You're trying to get freezes in play, like when it's 2-on-2 battles low. You go in the corner, you have to make an outlet pass to the coach or skate puck out the zone. And then it's bang, you got to go right back on D. Once you get that puck out, next people are attacking with speed. You're
And
going from offense to all of a sudden having to angle. So that's
so then
called
they
banana.
play the
One of
two
my
on
favorite
two,
drills.
and then once they get the puck back to the coach,
Once they
then
get the
it's
puck out, they're done, and the team on offense then has to pick up the other line that's coming right away at the
so
whistle.
do you pass the puck as the coach to those
No,
next two guys
no,
coming?
they leave with a puck.
They
Nope,
have
as soon
one.
as I blow the whistle, they leave with the puck.
Because then you're coming from wherever you were, and then they're coming
They're
at you.
coming right. So if these guys are coming here, and all of a sudden the White like box them out, does this, get puck here, then all of a sudden the whistle will blow, and these guys will come, and then these guys have to angle and play the two on
Yeah.
two.
Yep, that makes sense because then it's guys
And then
coming
I
at you
have
with
extra
speed.
pucks, right? And I have extra pucks in case one of these guys score. I'll snap a puck back to him for a second puck or a third puck because I don't let the other team off the hook. I make them have to either get a freeze or get a pass before they get to be done with the drill.
So yeah, they got to get out of it before they're out of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that's why I have extra pucks.
What's interesting to me is I always say it takes everybody to win. I asked Samuel Tremblay on here about his favorite drill, and he gave it to me. And then I did it in my practice. Bunch of kids liked it, said it was their favorite drill. And then I had another coach come up to me from minor hockey and say, I saw your practice there and you did this drill. And he's like, that got us all the way to the finals of this tournament. I'm telling you, it changed the way our team played, the way our defensemen played. And I was like, huh, all right. And honestly, I really like both of those drills and I'm going to use them. And that's pretty neat that it was Chris Frank, that was my Western Michigan teammate, go Broncos, who is the national powerhouse now, no big deal. But anyways, he was the one that said, keep asking people those questions because I'm a coach in Washington, USA, and he's like, I want to know. And I'm like, I agree. I want to know what the best drills are out there. And both of those make a lot of sense because I like mucking it up. But then that second one, the banana drill, like, you're putting those guys in a bad situation when they're standing still and guys are coming at them off the hop.
Yeah, and you got to angle. You got to be able to you got to go stick on puck. Like that's where you honestly see a couple of these players. Like you'll see some. I got to tell you, when you get it fixed,
Game back on.
okay. I got game on. I got to tell you my one though that I've been so proud of because I've been doing it for 15 years at least, and it's something that I've never seen anyone else do. And I try and tell it, and it's so simple, and it's
And
the
you
best
came
drill
up
ever.
with this on your own?
Yeah, and it's really do that's standing still, but it's about posture. So everybody will get around the circle. Everybody will have one puck in front of them. So everybody has a puck, and then there's an extra puck. And when they pass the puck, they can't stick handle, they can't dribble, they got to catch everything on their forehand. And they have to catch the puck that's passed to them and pass the second puck that's there. And the amount of you want to learn how to play with pace, you underhandle the puck, you learn how to push off, catch a puck on your forehand, and snap the puck. You learn how to catch a puck, pass a puck, catch a puck, pass a puck. And it's fucking pace. And then you throw in a second puck, third puck, and it is bang, 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 whip it around. And it never touches the backhand. You push side to side, and it's unbelievable. And it teaches you posture. And guess what? Once you make a pass, you better be ready to receive a pass. It's not, oh, I make a pass and then I get to chill.
You got to be ready.
Oh, yeah.
So you're saying you get the boys around the circle,
Get the
and
boys around the circle.
everybody has a puck, and then
everybody's a puck in front of them.
Then I
and
throw
then they have to, and you throw, and you have one person start with with a second puck. And the biggest thing is it teaches us posture, hands out, because if our hands aren't out, maybe it hits our puck that's in front of us. And you have to catch the puck, the extra puck, and then pass your puck. And there's no stick handling, no bullshit. It's literally one touch, like not one touch, like one timer, but it's one touch, one touch.
And it's also not every pass is going to be that good because
right. So you're going to have to be able to push off, right? And you're going to be able to have to push off your inside edges. That's the biggest thing is you have to be able to learn how to get side to side to be able to catch the puck on your forehand.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've done the circle passing drill where you get everybody standing around a circle and they start passing. And I'm like, I remember as a player, Lordo and Cardiff would make us do that. And I'd be so fucking bored. I'd be like, I know how to pass. Like, okay, pass it to me on the stick. I'll pass it back, whatever. But then you throw that element in there and it's like, well, I don't want to be the guy to screw up.
Yeah, right. And the other thing too, especially with these kids though, like, and when it comes to like our summer camps and stuff, that's why you say bored. And I say like posture is everything. So like get fucking comfortable doing boring shit because fundamentals are everything. When you get up levels, like if you can't make every fucking pass on the tape and you can't do this, like this is what the pros do. Like, and when they play, they're ready all the time. So like quit trying to frost your fucking cake before you put the cake in, like this is the whole thing. It's like you got to get like, and this is the biggest thing is like if you really want to play the game fast, I don't give a shit how fast you can skate. I do care about how quickly you can move the puck and then be able to ready get it back. Not just chuck the puck and then, okay, it's not my problem anymore and I'm not ready for an outlet. But it's like you pass the puck here. So then when you throw a second puck in, well, guess what? You better be scanning and opening up your blade to be able to catch the puck on the forehand.
I have never seen anybody else. You thought of that on your own?
Yeah, and I've been doing it for almost 20 years.
I really like I've thought that like passing in hockey is about as important as any skill there is. And I always tell my guys, it's like when we do the 4 blues and they're not like right into the passing, I'm like, how is the next guy on our team going to get going in speed if you don't put that on his tape? He's going to be chasing it. He's going to be looking for it. It's going to be behind him. It's going to be in front of him. If you pass it on his tape, he's gone in stride. And I thought about just doing the circle passing drill. And I'm like, well, they're going to think
watch how many kids, and even pros, watch how many kids, the puck is this much here. They're lazy and just go here as opposed to take one push off an inside edge and catch it on your forehand and be able to pass it as opposed to just, oh, I just come up a little bit because I made the pass and then I come up and turn my hands as opposed to just push side to side off your inside edge. And then see how many kids can actually stay in that position for 1 minute. And that's what your shift is, right? Kids are taking longer shifts.
So you do that drill for a minute at a time?
I do that drill for more than a minute at a time and have whip around and really see who can stay down there. And then when we get off ice, I'll play that drill. I'll do that drill with the extra puck. And I'll honestly and we'll do it and I'll time it again and have them get up to 2 and 3 minutes to be able to stay posture. And guess what? When you get better at being able to be lower and push off, again, your circle gets bigger. That's how you become a better player, is who is able to catch passes in this area. And the biggest thing is who's got the happy feet and who's efficient with just one step, and who's all over the place, happy feet. So the easier you can make the game really easy.
Fuck, you're smart.
And this is something that,
this is why I asked you to talk to me today.
Yeah, but like especially with the young kids, the more posture you can teach them, more ready, the more efficient they can become, and they start thinking about this, the faster they're going to be playing. And they didn't have to get any, they didn't have to get any faster skater, they didn't have to get any stronger. All they had to do was be ready. Yeah, it takes a little more leg strength, but all they had to do is be ready and focused. That's
Not
it.
straight-legged.
Right. And that's the thing. Can you push off side to side? And that's why we stay in this position and ready, is because our transition, being able to go lateral, being able to use our inside. And when we're standing straight up, you have to be on an inside edge. That's the biggest thing because you have to be able to push.
Oh, that brings back Derek Clancy again, that guy with the D zone. He said if you're in your D zone and you're not on your inside edges, you're out of position. If you're turning and you're on your outside edge, you are out of position. You stay steady, you stay straight, and when we have the puck, we go. And wow, you're really hitting home right now. Because you're right, and it actually helps you in every facet of hockey is being on those inside edges and be able to make those adjustments. It's like when kids ask me to give them one-timers at the end of practice, and if I don't put in their wheelhouse, they won't shoot. And I'm like, you think I'm putting in your wheelhouse every time in a game? I'm like, I'm putting it
Say it louder.
behind
Say
you
it
and
louder.
yeah, like you got to
Scream
move.
it.
You got to move.
Scream it.
You got to
This is
move
what I'm
and hit the
saying.
puck. And it's like, don't
This is what
pass
I'm
that
saying.
puck back to me or I'm going to take a slap shot at you and it's going
Like,
to hurt.
you 13 kid, who you think you're playing with that they're going to put the puck on a dime every single time?
Right in your
The
wheelhouse.
reason how you become good is how big your circle is. That's it.
Yeah.
When you
And
can when
I
you can get
honestly,
a big circle and these pucks and any puck in your circle you can handle and you can then make another play. And I say this, I speak about good players. A good player is somebody that can make a play. A better player is somebody that can make two plays. An even better player is somebody that can make three plays. How many plays can you make? Like this is the thing, and it's all about being ready.
and
It's all about being
it's
ready.
making the right play at the right decision. But bringing that up with the one-timers, when I was out with O'Reilly and it was just me and him out there working one-on-one, and he was telling me what we were doing, and I was just willing to help out. And he was telling me what we're doing, and he's like, okay, so I'm going to do this, and then you're going to give me a one-timer on my back foot. Then you're going to give me a one-timer in the wheelhouse. Then you're going to give me a one-timer on my front foot. Then you're going to do this. Then you're going to do that. And man, watching him make the adjustments of where I put it, and he would still shoot it just as hard in the right spot. And I was like, I was that guy that was like, that was a brutal pass. Give it to me again. I want to hit it hard. And I'm like, that's not what happens in the game. You have to hit it wherever it comes, and it ain't going to be perfect, and you have to figure out how to do it.
Yeah, I mean, when we're in our off ice space in the facility there with Alex, like a lot of the kids that don't really enjoy getting better, like challenge them, they kind of struggle and don't have that much fun in there because I ask them to shoot pucks and watch them, and then I see the way they shoot pucks, and obviously I don't work on that at all in there because they already work on that. So then I try and put them in a spot where they don't work on and maybe they're not good at, and then we work on that all the time. They're like, and then obviously at the end, you have them shoot where they're really comfortable so they can feel good about it. And then because you're not trying to change things overnight, but you're trying to make it so the weaknesses are all of a sudden not as weak, and you continue to do your strengths. And then if they can implement something, okay, maybe they have a bad habit, only 40% of the time, and then it drops down to 35% and 30%. They're not just going to completely wipe everything away. But I go, why would I need to work on that with you in here when clearly you've done that enough to be able to have this skill? So you like practicing this.
Yeah. Well, it's like shooting pucks for me. It's like, I don't get it. I'm curious how much ice time your team gets per week. Because I feel like we've done really well this year for what we get. But like when it comes down to shooting pucks, it's like that's not my job. If you love hockey, you're going to go home and shoot pucks. When we get to practice and I get 50 minutes a week to help you guys get better, I don't have time for skills. I have time for team structure practice. And then we had parents pay out of pocket this year to get 7 a.m. practices so that I could do my skill stuff with them too, because it wasn't enough. What we were getting, and the manager I have is world class, unbelievable, does everything, gets her done, and everybody's on the same page. He lets everybody know, but he's like, we're having these practices, and I don't really say why, but it's like we have 50 minutes a week, and it's like that's our team practice. We're doing structure, we're doing team stuff, but then there's so much else out there, and I'm like, I don't have time to help you guys with this. But then we have 7 a.m. practices. I'm like, okay, so this is a skills practice. We're going to learn how to score goals. We're going to learn how to do shit. And if we didn't have that time, it's just team stuff for 50 minutes a week, and it's not nearly enough.
So I had some growing, so not that I had growing pains, but I really changed the way I thought on things this year when I came into, because I would spend the whole practice on one passing drill. And I'd say, because I'm like, why would we move on if you guys can't pass? And then I'm banging my head against the wall. I'm going, man, can I be the worst coach possible? And actually, Alex came in here and he's like, Lamps, like you could spend all day and all night. You're still gonna have a couple kids that just don't have great technique, and passing this way, it doesn't matter. I've been doing this for. I had these kids. I've been doing this forever. He's like, what are you really good at? He's like, you're good at communicating, how to play the game and compete and this. And he's like, kind of maybe think about it this way. And it's funny because the advice he gave to me, he kind of didn't use with his own team until halfway through the year. And he's like, Lamps, can you maybe take my team and work on the structure part because that's your forte, and we would kind of do a switch. Once my guys got the structure, I would really kind of switch like the individual like stick handling skill and things like that to Alex, and we'd switch and I'd take his guys in and
And it
run them
takes
like
everybody
of
to
why we
win,
do
and
this. And
everybody
it takes
has their
everybody to
skill
win,
set.
right? So I was like really banging my head against the wall. And he goes, man, the kids that want to get better will get better there. But like when you have a team, I was like, yeah, you have to be efficient on what you have and what's going to make your team the best team. So where do you spend that time? Because obviously there's a billion things you could work on, but you have to pick and choose what will make the biggest difference.
Uh, yeah. And it's interesting coaching different age groups, what that is. I've coached under 11 boys, under 9 girls, then under 13 boys, and then again under 13 boys. And practices are totally different based on the age group and the crowd.
But when you have the younger kids, do you just have them be competitive?
Um, it's been different. Under 9 girls house league hockey. At the start of the season, I think
Oh, you really got to, yeah.
I
You
got
really
about
got
as
to.
creative as it got. There was a time where I was showing them we're a team, and I made them all put their sticks together, like you get your 2 hands together, and I basically made them synchronize skate together. And they had to skate together. They had to work as a team. They had to stay together. Their favorite drill was when I would toss a pylon across the ice and make it spin, and they had to try and dive on it and catch it before it stopped spinning. Um, there was some interesting drills that season. But then with this under 13 boys, it's like I'm running like real practice. I do the horseshoe more than I would want, but they like it. And at that age, they don't know how to swing with timing and get the puck with speed. The start of the year, they're all turning around backwards, getting the puck. And I'm like, you need to get that puck going forwards. Like you need to be going full tilt. and they'd be swinging around and they'd be too far ahead of the play. And I'm like, you got to be back here. So it's a horizontal pass, not a vertical pass, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, I think there's there's drills that are you're not trying to reinvent the wheel every time. I think the biggest thing is it when you're doing different drills, you just are
It's
trying to
habits.
like as long as the kids like as long as you're teaching, what they should be getting out of that drill, knowing why you're doing that drill. Like there's no time wasters out there. That's the biggest thing. It's like when you do something, this is what the focus is on. And okay, great. So then that's what we do. And I think that's the biggest thing is that just, you know, again, I don't know why you have
How
to
much
do
ice time does your
85
team get?
different, we get 6 hours a week.
Practice? And uh, um nah. Well, what are you gonna do?
An hour and a half of that is split ice, with the U50. So it's half ice, but man, but we have to have this. This is the 5-star program. And to get money from the DB, you have to have all this criteria. There's more rules and structure that you ever thought of.
There is everywhere. But it's nice having dudes like you coaching the kids in Germany because when I went there, well, if I'm being honest and I'm slinging it, the coaching wasn't nearly up to speed with what it could be. And having hockey guys that are true hockey guys being the coaches, especially for kids and bringing them up right, um, well, that can change things. And you may not see it today, you may not see it tomorrow, but it's coming.
It's I love it. Like I said, I love it. My family, I got 3 kids in hockey now. The girls just started playing, my 12 and 9-year-old girls. My 5-year-old is the biggest rink rat you've ever seen. He's at the rink all day with me in the like all he's doing it. He's got 60 brothers and sisters now with like 100 of them, like that and he's the king, he thinks he's the king of the world, like in the
Isn't it
office and
weird
locker
what
room it's set
hockey
up
can
like
bring you?
like I said, it's amazing. Um, I love it, but again, it's nice because I really have my foot in 2 different worlds. We have, I have my U17 team, and then we work with some of the best players in the country. So it's like it's a balance and finding that and not expecting too much sometimes from my U17, which I can, sometimes because you're halfway in that other world. So it's a balance, but I think the one thing is that I would rather run a tighter ship from the younger ages to where they learn it earlier and they don't have to worry about the discipline. And that's just my train of thought. Like it could be, they said people could not agree with it, but when we get on the ice, younger ages, like when the whistle blows, stop. When the whistle blows, don't touch the pucks. Like it's simple things. Like I'm old school like that, and I think they should be learning it from the younger ages.
There's no doubt.
And I think that's the issue that I have to spend the most time on. But I think that will prove, its worth in the long run because you see the structural changes.
It's the baby steps, right? Like it's when they haven't been raised right, and then you have to change like the culture. And I'm sure the whistle blows and they just go shoot pucks and do whatever. And, they come in and it's like, well, that's not how this works. Like
Yeah, right.
when the whistle blows, you come in. And it was the same with my team this season. At the start of the season, we had one of our first games and I wrote down the lineup and I said meeting at this time. And then I went in for the meeting and not everybody was ready for the meeting. And I said, this isn't how hockey works. I'm like, If you're not ready for the meeting, you don't play that night. I'm like, this is how hockey works, is when I say the meeting is at this time, you guys are ready for the meeting at this time. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
All right. I think I
interesting.
gotta.
You
Yeah.
got to
Yeah.
go. We've talked too
I think so.
long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I
Well,
should
no,
have
but
wrote
I
down
think because they're kicking me out of the thing. But I'll talk to you off the thing for a second though before we go.
Yeah, we probably should. And anyways, this has been great. And I actually love your hockey brain. I love what you're doing and I love the passion you have for the game and helping kids get better. But I think bigger and brighter things are in your future. And I can't wait to see it and have you on again, sir, because I got a few drills to use with my under 13 boys. So thank you.
Yeah, I want some from you too. Like I said, I'm a man. Let's make the library as big as possible. You know.
Exactly. It takes everybody to win, and you got to use each other to know what the hell to do, right? And this has been
Absolutely.
another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Lamps and Wally.